So some of the main economic sectors that we have the manufacturing sector, the financial services, and also the real estate. In terms of the different sectors, and in terms of collaboration with South Africa, we do have economic and bilateral ties in terms of trade as well as investment, but also companies which have already invested in the manufacturing sector, as you can see, is the automotive sector, the construction materials in terms of technical textiles, and we have other companies that we are already facilitating in terms of the pharmaceutical industry and also the jewelry sector. Well, today, Mauritius is also recognized as a major sourcing destination for textiles and apparels. This sector started back in the 1970s with an export-led FDI strategy. So definitely with time, we have advancement in technology, changing consumer preferences, demographics, digitalization. These are all factors that are shaping the future of the manufacturing sector. And today, Mauritius has a well-diversified industrial base of products moving up the value chain. This growth model focuses on the global value chain, with companies manufacturing parts and components in different locations, with each step adding value to the product. So by moving up the value chain, we are focusing on high complexity products, processes, investment and capital goods, as well as skilled labor. So in terms of what do we mean, my first question on high technology manufacturing activities, where the 9th schedule of the Land Duties and Taxes Act defines high technology manufacturing in terms of electronic appliances, high precision components, nanotechnology derived products, original equipment manufacturing. So we do have the list, and definitely Mauritius having major exports of its traditional products like textiles and apparels and seafood. We now have the jewelry sector, the medical devices sector, and also other subsectors that are coming up, adding to the export basket of products of Mauritius. So definitely, in terms of the Mauritian exporters, we do have a preferential market access. So Mauritian exporters can benefit from duty advantage on specific products in markets where we do have a preferential market access that has been discussed, agreed through trade agreements. So in terms of connectivity, Mauritius has a very modern airport connecting nearly to 33 cities, direct links to 33 cities. And also we have the port, which is also well connected to main ports of Africa, and also through the internet. So in terms of the investment opportunities, we do have different subsectors, segments that we are promoting. We have the first segment being the pharmaceutical and medical devices. We do have the automotive sector. We are coming up with a lot of focus on electronics, metal fabrication, and also in terms of investment opportunities, we are also focusing on the circular economy that is moving more towards sustainable and productive investment, and also in the medical equipment and tooling. So in terms of the different sectors that we are promoting, we have the electronic sector, which represents nearly 23 million USD. So that is a sector where we are focusing a lot, because that is very much capital intensive. In terms of metal fabrication, also for the construction industry, we are also having more companies investing in the metal fabrication sector, because this is where we can use Mauritius as the base for the region also. And we do have investment from South African companies already in the automotive, spare parts, electronics, and also high precision components. So just to give you a snapshot about the medical devices sector, we do have companies, nearly 7, employing 600 persons. For Mauritius, we do manufacture 5% of the global demand for catheters, which is in itself a very good indication for the growth of this sector in Mauritius. In terms of exports, we see that there has been a growth of nearly 17% over the years, and we do have our main export markets being Europe, India. So in terms of, as already stated by the chairman, the medical devices that we are exporting are relevant to catheters and stents, and also other products. We do have our people, engineering and graduating annually. So we do have nearly 3,000 engineers who are graduating annually, and also our vocational institutes that are also providing courses related to this. One other aspect that we have already identified is in this pandemic era with the COVID, there has a lot of focus on the PPE, the diagnostic equipment, and clinical care equipment. So in line with the World Health Organization also, there are quite essential items that each country has to keep. So in terms of looking at Africa, we look at the exports of the Africa and also the imports, and we can see that those figures are going to shoot up, and there's an estimated nearly 44 billion USD worth of products that Africa imports. So definitely there's an opportunity to tap into the African market and also to use Mauritius to do these products. Going back to the pharmaceutical industry, in terms of the pharmaceutical sector, so this is a nascent sector in Mauritius, and also the government is putting a lot of emphasis on the development of this sector. And we have seen with the pandemic the focus for pharmaceutical products. And right now we have one company already manufacturing in Mauritius, and we do export, but majority of the products are imported to Mauritius. So the government has come up with an incentive framework and also a framework for pharmaceutical manufacturing companies to set up in Mauritius. There is a dedicated pharmaceutical and life sciences business park that has been set up in Mauritius with an area of nearly 65 acres of land. In terms of the proposed activities, there could be the drug manufacturing, the medical devices, cosmeceuticals, and also biotechnology activities, and research and development, which we are encouraging for you to undertake. So in terms of the existing skills requirements, we do have the University of Mauritius that is going to give training courses in the life sciences sector. We have companies, the GSS Academy, that is going to do the courses in the M-Pharm pharmacy. So we do have institutions providing all those lead courses to the medical sector. We have Polytechnic Mauritius that is also involved in the medical field. So definitely, in terms of the pharmaceutical industry, we do have interest from a few companies, but the incentives that are being given by the government, as you can see, we do have a 15% margin of preference to be given to the companies from start of operations for a period of 8 years, and recently introduced pharmaceutical manufacturing for people who can come under the occupation permit and earning a salary of 30,000 Mauritian rupees. So these are a few incentives that are being given by the government to encourage companies to set up their manufacturing pharmaceutical product in Mauritius. Going to the next slide, we do have the jewelry sector. So basically, jewelry sector, we have nearly 690 registered jewelers, and these are all very much focused on the domestic market. We do export, as already stated, to international clients like Tiffany, Shuruk, and other French designers and companies. So in terms of the jewelry sector, we do export to Europe mostly, but also we are encouraging more companies to set up in terms of the high-end jewelry manufacturing, diamond cutting, and other precious metal refining and other activities within the jewelry sector. We do import from Europe mainly. And in terms of the gold and diamond procedures, we do have certain procedures to follow in terms of your requirement for import permit, and also the assay office that is the regulatory body for the jewelry sector. So definitely the jewelry sector is the third export pillar of the manufacturing sector, and very much domestic oriented. We've only nearly 20 companies are export oriented. So we'd like to encourage more companies to use Mauritius. And in terms of incentives, also in terms of importation of rough cut or polished diamonds, well, these products do not attract duty, though VAT has to be paid on these items. So just to give you a bit of a background about the different incentives specific to the jewelry sector, so this is a list of those incentives that is the company can benefit in terms of the import duties on equipment and raw materials, the custom duty on the jewelry, and also the focus is moving up the value chain. So there is VAT exemption on the 3D printing technologies that the jewelry manufacturing companies could adopt. Going back to the manufacturing sector in itself, so the focus is for the high-tech high-tech manufacturing value-added activities. So basically, the list that is provided is that these companies will get an 8 years income tax holiday. So that is something that manufacturing companies in the high-tech activities do get. You do have a 3% corporate rate that is given to companies whose profits are derived from export of goods. And also in terms of Mauritius, we do not have any export duties. And the investment tax credit of 15% to companies, this is a new measure that has been recently introduced through the budget, and that is provided to companies investing in high-tech manufacturing equipment. So this is something that will be given to companies for a period of 3 years. And also you have other incentives that are given in terms of accelerated depreciation and also in terms of deferred tax scheme. That is something that can be provided to the company with the Mauritius Revenue Authority. In terms of the non-fiscal incentives, so companies can acquire property for business purposes, and that goes through the Economic Development Board. And there's no registration duty and land transfer tax for the high-tech manufacturing activities. You can also be exempted from the payment of land conversion, and the work permit for expatriate is also given to 8 years. In terms of the scheme that is provided for a refund of 40% on air freight cost, this has recently been increased and the number of countries have been extended. So basically, as you see the list, some of the countries have been added: Australia, Canada, Europe, Japan, Middle East. All these countries you can export and then get a refund of 40%. And those, it's open for all products, which is new, and except for machineries, live animals, and chemicals. So this is a measure, specific measure that has been brought out by the government recently following the budget. So it's valid only from the 1st of July 2020 to 30th of June 2022. We do have another scheme that is a freight rebate scheme, where the company, provided that they do have a value addition of products, they can have a refund of 25% of the basic cost. That is nearly 300 USD on a 20-foot container and 600 USD for a 40-foot container. And this is eligible to 47 ports in 19 countries in Africa. So in terms of the skills requirements, the training, skills, education, we have a host of training programs that are conducted by the vocational training institutes. As you can see, the government has come up with different schemes also: the youth employment program, the national skill development program. We do have a host of courses also being run. So that depends on the different subsectors and subsegments that you are operating in. We can, the vocational institutes can also provide you with tailor-made courses to train your staff. So in terms of the training grant scheme, you can also get a refund of 70% of the training costs that you will be incurring. So just to give you a snapshot about the ease of doing business and also the cost of doing business, this is something important that you have to bear with. We have just tried to sort of provide you some indicative cost, rental cost, and also in terms of labor cost. We do have a minimum salary in Mauritius that is amounting to 10,200 rupees. And also in terms of electricity and water utilities, which is important, this is already an industrial tariff is provided to companies that are operating in the manufacturing sector, together with the telecommunication cost that is also at a very discounted rate. Yeah. So in terms of the internal logistics, that is an area where we would like to share with you the infrastructure that the country is providing to the investor. So infrastructure is key to the development of any country, as we know. And at the level of the government is investing massively on infrastructural projects. There is more than 50 billion rupees that has been earmarked for the year 2020-2021, be it that in the road development network, you have the light rail system, as well as internal infrastructure. So it is very important to know that there is a lots of work upgrading of roads that are being carried out by the government, because it is important to commute and also connect within the island. In terms of energy production, we do have 3,132 gigawatts of products of electricity, energy that's produced, and there is a long-term strategy of the government to increase our production of electricity from renewable sources to 35% in 2025. So definitely you need to have a good infrastructure, you need to have the utilities, the water system, the energy which is stable, energy production, and the public transport system, but as well as that, the industrial premises. So we do have the government as well as the private sector providing a list of industrial premises that you can rent, but also there are a few technology parks that has been put into place. It is being put into place. We have in Côte d'Or a data technology park that is being put into place, and also a high-tech park, together with the pharmaceutical and life sciences park that is in Rosebery. And we do have also near the port area, the Richter Business Industrial Park that is already being provided to potential operators. So in terms of, just to give you a background, I mean a bit of a snapshot about if a company has a project, so how do we start to set up a manufacturing company in Mauritius? So it's simple. You have to produce your project to the Economic Development Board. If it is in the high-tech manufacturing activity, so that project will be will have a technical committee through which it goes, because this company will be eligible to different incentives in terms of 8 years tax holiday, in terms of if you're purchasing land, in terms of waiving of land duties, and also land transfer tax, as well as registration duties, taxes, which are being exempted, and other incentives. So that goes through the process. Now there is the reviews from the different authorities that are concerned. And also if you need service land or building, this is available. We, at the level of the EDB, will facilitate your search for these land and industrial building, and also follow up for the submission of the permits and clearances. And also what you have to do is also to register with the Mauritius Revenue Authority once that your company is incorporated. So you have the different levels and different types of companies and also activities that you can go through. So the Environment Protection Act, if you need environmental clearances at the level of the EDB, we're going to facilitate your project with the different agencies and authorities. In terms of the company incorporation, what we would like also to share with you is any company that wants to set up in Mauritius presently, the company can use its local representative to incorporate its company, and also to open its bank account. Presently, we know that people are not traveling. So at the level of the EDB, we will try to facilitate your meetings and also to seek industrial premises if you require them. And we are just working into the new normal, that is we are connecting to online and talking to the different people. So online systems also have been introduced to enable quicker submission of permits and licenses at the level of the government and also different institutions. Yeah. So to provide you more information about the work and leave, that is the residency part of it, there has been some changes in the occupation and work occupation permit system in Mauritius. So definitely, as from the 2nd of September of this year, we will be having a new guidelines for the occupation permit. The changes that have been provided is usually it was issued for a period of 3 years. Now it has been extended for 10 years. So occupation permit holders especially investors and self-employed, the 3 years has been extended to 10 years. So if you are an occupation permit holder, the 10 years will be provided to you as from the date of issue of your occupation permit. Yeah. Also, in terms of those who are permanent resident permit holders, the duration has been extended from 10 years to 20 years. Those who are retired non-citizens, those who have a retired residence permit, that also has been extended from 3 years to 10 years. And also, before we had the qualifying activity for permanent residents, the residence permit, that was usually for 500,000 USD, but now that has been reduced to 375,000 USD. And in terms of dependents, so we have parents who are dependents, spouse who are dependents, and also a child until the age of 24 who are considered as dependents. And any non-citizen with or without an occupation permit, you can also acquire an apartment in a Grand Plus 2 complex. So in terms of the different criteria for work and live and the occupation permit, we do have different categories of people in terms of the investor, the professional, the self-employed, and the retired non-citizen. So the new guidelines that will be effective as from the 2nd of September, the minimum investment has been reduced from 100,000 to 50,000 USD. So definitely for manufacturing sector, the initial investment would amount to, as from the 2nd of September, to 25,000 USD, and the balance will be in terms of the high-tech plant and machinery. For the category of professionals, the basic salary has remained the same, 60,000 Mauritian rupees, that is nearly 1,500 USD, and the professional for pharmaceutical manufacturing, food processing, and the ICT sector is only 30,000 Mauritian rupees. So in the category of self-employed, you can be a self-employed in terms of having an initial investment exceeding 35,000 USD. And also for the retired non-citizen, there is minimum age of 50 years, and there's a minimum transfer of about 1,500 USD. So definitely the validity of these permits has been extended from 3 to 10 years. And I believe in terms of the different projects that has been implemented in Mauritius, so a few examples, just to cite here a few, we do have the PET Preform manufacturing company in Mauritius that is already exporting to the African region. We have the optical fibers company already manufacturing and exporting to the Latin America and other countries in Africa. We have one company manufacturing explosion-proof heaters that is used in oil mining phase, and they are exporting to Russia and the Middle East. And also in terms of the technical textiles, non-garments, we have sports nets being manufactured, and also the automotive spare parts that is being manufactured in Mauritius. So definitely that gives you a snapshot of where we are, what we are doing, and also what are the incentives that the Mauritius government is providing to you. So in terms of the different projects and different aspects that is being discussed, we at our level, at the EDB and the Manufacturing Industries Cluster, will be happy to respond to any of your queries and also to assist you and facilitate your project in Mauritius. So we thank you all for your attention, and we pass on to Shakil for the other session. Thank you very much for your attention.